What makes a great instructor?
Someone that's always searching for a more knowledge themselves and then willing to learn instead be the person who I got the black belt, I know everything, I don't
Mm,
need to learn anymore.
mm,
And also be open to learn from anyone, I think like if you're a black belt and you have that nerd purple belt at the gym that watch more jiu-jitsu than you do, he can come up with something that he saw and then he practiced and he adjusted and then he can also show you that and then you can learn from him, you know. Always be open to learn and be open to always keep acquiring knowledge to yourself and not don't just be stuck like, oh, I know everything. Don't be that person. I know everything. I'm a black belt. Just a person like anybody else. And then I can learn from anyone and I can always get better on the things that I'm doing and get better in my jiu-jitsu.
Felipe, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. So you are a third degree black belt who has his own academy and in Connecticut, right? And
Hmm.
you are also affiliate under one of my heroes, JT Torres, which is incredible. Yeah, and you are originally from Brazil. And what are you, like
Hmm.
around what, third in your 30s?
33. So I'm about to be 34 in January.
And the name of your academy again, forgive me.
Red Zone Jiu-Jitsu.
Red Zone.
Yes.
And you're in Monroe, Connecticut,
I'm
correct?
in Monroe, Connecticut. Yes.
So your journey is very interesting from Brazil and here and opening the academy. You've always wanted it seems like, to have your own academy, correct?
Yes, I've been wanting to have my academy so it goes all the way back when I was 18 years old. Blue belt was the first time that I came to America to compete at the World Championship as a blue belt. And that's when it came the desire. When I saw everything here, I saw the academies here and I saw the lifestyle here. I was like, oh man, maybe there's something that I want to work on and I want to have my academy and I want to move to America one day. That's when everything started.
So you've been an active competitor for quite some time with a lot of success and just working, grinding and grinding. The academy, I was looking at the schedule and how did you come about putting it? Because I noticed that there's a lot of it's listed as fundamentals, and then you got a couple like beginner classes, and you have these interesting weekend options. Can you talk about your planning for that and your thought behind that?
I always thought to have like a beginner class, but in the past was something that like it wasn't working time wise for everyone because people wanted to do sparring. And then eventually I end up doing it. And then I have a special class just for the beginners. It's only 45 minutes class and it's only warm-ups, solo movements, and drillings, understanding the techniques. And then we have that class now here Monday through Friday. And towards the end of the week, we do a little specific training on that class about the topic that we've been working. So it can give them the ability to try that with a little more resistance and then be creative with some different reactions as well. And on that specific class, I develop a 12-week program for that class, which I pick out 12 different techniques that I thought was the main fundamental techniques that everyone should learn if they walk by the door knowing nothing. And that will prepare them to take the step to a fundamentals class where they can learn a different techniques and they can do a sparring. And then we go through that 12 techniques and one technique each week. So we focus on one concept or technique each week, not necessarily the same exactly steps for the technique, but like, let's see, this week we're working on Caesar sweep. So we work around like variations and reactions that we're going to encounter, and then we can still manage to do the Caesar sweep. Oh, let's say we work in a takedown. We work a bunch of different ways to get to the takedown, but we specifically use one topic every week. And then after 12 weeks, we go back to the number one. So if you started on the academy and then we're on the week four, like, oh, I missed first three, you're gonna go back to that eventually, and then you're gonna learn that as well.
Hmm.
And then we have the fundamentals classes, which is we have more advanced techniques, and we have the sparring.
So it's sort of a general level class, even though you call it fundamentals class?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
for me, it's just like pretty much the name of the class, but it's more like all levels class. So we get from white to black belt in that class.
And then I also noticed that you have something called 1 day a week called family jujitsu.
Yes. So that's a class on Saturday morning where the parents that train and the kids that train, they come together on the mat. So it is a chance for the families connect on the mats, not just outside when they're at their homes and stuff. They can connect and they can learn together on the mats as a family. So the parents and the kids, they build more strong connection on the gym, on the mats. The parents can show the kids that they're training as well. The kids can see the parents training and then back and forth.
And are you teaching that yourself or?
Yeah, I opened the academy here 9 months ago. So as right now, since I opened, I've been teaching every single class every day.
I was looking at that. I was looking at the website trying to see. I'm like, where are the other instructors? Where are the I'm like,
Yeah,
I think this guy is doing it by himself, everything,
yeah,
man.
yeah. As right now, I've been doing everything. Eventually, I wanted to start giving other instructors class. So I have a guy who helped me on the kids class. His current blue belt. He's been blue belt for almost 2 years now, and amazing coach, amazing with kids. And we're already in the process of like training him.
Mhm.
So once a week, he's leading the little kids class, which is 3 to 6 years old. We're doing that process now. So next year, he's probably going to be taking over that kids class, which is 3 times a week. And it's going to take a little off my shoulder. I'm going to have a little more time to maybe work on the back side of the gym, on the other things.
You've always been a hard worker. I know that. I know that's how you started teaching as well, was teaching kids class here in the States,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
With very little English too, right?
Yeah. So my very first opportunity to teach was to teach the little kids class, and I had a guy that was helping me at the time. He was a purple belt, and then I was leading the class. No much English, and then was the very good friend of mine, and then was my first instructor here. My first professor here was Rafael Formiga Barbosa. So it's the person who opened the door for me to start teaching my first classes. And then I was watching and helping him on the bigger kids and then learning the way he was doing things. And yeah, that was the very first class that I started teaching.
So let's talk about this other class that you offer. It's called Q&A drills and sparring class. Can you take us to like, what does that typically look like? What did you think it was going to look like when you put this together? And what are the outcomes that you want?
So everyone have a busy schedule these days, right? So you finish training. A lot of people don't have much time to hang out after class. They gotta go home, maybe because it's late. They gotta get up early the next day. If they come train in the morning, sometimes they gotta go to work. If they come at 6 a.m., if they come to the 10 a.m. that we offer right after class, sometimes they gotta go back to work or do other stuff. And they don't have much other times on the week to do a private lesson sometimes, right? And then ask all the questions they have. And imagine a class that everyone can sit on the mat together, and then we make a circle. Everybody have their turn, and everyone ask a question about what their struggles during the week, what they're facing, what they want to fix, what they're working on, and then everyone ask a question. I'll go ahead, grab somebody, answer every single question, and then we all together pick about like two or three of those best questions that fits everyone. And then we'll drill that for each position for like 5 to 10 minutes. And then we'll work on that as a group. And then we'll get regular rounds after that, focusing on working on those questions.
Now, Felipe, I want to circle back to this white belts having to, or beginners having to do 3 months of this intros, and then how you transition them to the fundamentals or your general program. Is that just something that you sort of determine, or you look at the time? I mean, I would imagine by 3 months, they're more than capable of joining
Yes.
a fundamentals class. So, what does that transition look like to you? What are you looking for?
So that part, it's funny because I have people coming by the door that they really want to take those 12 weeks and then work on everything that we teach in that beginner class. before they jump into the fundamentals class, so where they can spar. And I also have people walking by the door and they come on the first day, they do the beginner class and they're like, hey, can I stay and do the sparring? I want to feel all in. I want jump in. I want to get my ass kicked, I want all of it. And I feel like having academies like you need to be able to understand and manage those scenarios because if you let everyone go in the fire and then throw them on the fundamentals class too early, they might not come back. But if you don't let those guys that are like willing to go do it, they also might not come back. You're right. So you have to have like that balance in that and understand everyone is different. Everyone have a different goal. Everyone have a different body type. Everyone have a different lifestyle. And you just go with that. That's 12 weeks that we say you need 12 weeks to go to the fundamentals class. It's not like a set stone. So it's not like this and done so we can go around it. It's like sometimes you see someone doing so well and they really just want to do the beginner class and then you see them doing so well in 2 weeks, right? They're doing so well in 2 weeks like, hey, I recommend you to try the fundamentals class
Hmm.
because you're doing so well in the beginner class. I think you're gonna enjoy doing the sparring. And then sometimes they do and they have so much fun and they're like, oh my God, thank you for recommending me to go to that class. And also there are some people that like, I really think you should focus on this 12 weeks before you go to the fundamentals class and then do any sparring. And it's also that like a group of older people that they are afraid of getting hurt and they really on their own they want to do those 12 weeks first before they jump into any sparring.
Now, let's also talk about you have an offering. I think some academies do this, but not all. So it's nice to see you state it. It's a scholarship program. Can you talk about your scholarship program and how that works?
We just opened that a few months ago. We offer that any family that household is at or less than $60,000 a year, we're offering them a completely free year of jujitsu, with the gear, everything, the gi, the rash guard, the belt,
Wow.
everything included.
Wow.
And yeah, and then we offer them, they can come and try. We see how they do. We offer a week free trial for them. We'll see how they do in that week. Everything going well, we offer them the whole year of training. And then
Awesome.
after that year, if they are dedicated, they're doing well and everything going good, so we can also renew that year for them. It's just passing forward, to help the community and help people that really cannot afford to do jiu-jitsu because we know jiu-jitsu is not a cheap sport to do it. So, especially depending on the area that you at, it's like more and more expensive, and not a lot of families have the ability to walk by the door and then spend like a five, $600. Oh, I got a membership fee, I got an initial fee, I got a gi, I got a rash guard. When you're spending like five, $600 at one day. Not a lot of people have the ability to do that. And now imagine a family that walks at the door and they have like five kids. And now, like, that means I have to spend like almost $3,000 if I want my five kids to join
True.
today,
True.
right? So that gives them the ability the families that don't have the ability to everyone train, maybe they can get one of them on a scholarship or something.
Now, let's talk about your game a little bit here, especially your early game when you were coming up through the ranks. What was your game like?
A lot of people won't believe this. Believe it or not, coming up as a white belt to a blue belt, my go-to was single leg and double leg takedowns. Believe it or not, I was not a guard player. I love it to going for takedowns and doing the wrestling part and scramble out of it. And then as a blue belt, I was 18 years old, almost 19, and I hurt my shoulder pretty bad. I went to a double, I think was a single leg at the time, on a heavier guy, and then he sprawl, and then my shoulder like super extended, and I hurt my shoulder pretty bad. Yeah, I was out for maybe 2, 3 months. When I came back to training, I was scared to shoot for takedowns again. I wasn't feeling much on my shoulder because I did a rehab, I did physical therapy. Lucky I didn't need the surgery, but I was scared to go back and shoot for takedowns. And then you know what? I'm going to start training from guard. That's when I start playing guard. And then I fell in love with playing guard, and then I pretty much just always pull guard these days.
What typical weight class do you compete in?
Right now, I compete at featherweight. It's 154 with the gi on. But coming up in the lower ranks until the brown belt, I used to compete at light feather. So at blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, some tournaments, I compete at light feather, and then I move up to featherweight later on the brown belt.
So do you encourage at this point your students also to go for takedowns as well? You know, and early on you were in love with the single and the double.
Yeah, I have some students that love to go for takedowns, and that's when they want to be part of their game. And I have students that like, no, that's not for me. I like to pull guard. I want to play in the bottom. And I always encourage them to follow where they wanted to pursue. Yeah, their game, they want to build their game at.
Where do you see, you know, the typical mistakes of people who want to play that top takedown game, whether it's single or double? What do you see sort of a recurring issue?
I think like if you want to choose a takedown as your game, you have to commit to it. Like you can shoot a double leg or a single leg and just hold to your partner's leg and then stay on your knees or something like that, right? So if that's what you want to be part of a game, you have to constantly be shooting over and over and over again until you get your partner down. You have to be explosive. You have to be active on those positions. It's not something that like you can do controlling much as you do when you're sweeping your partner, right? Sometimes you can use leverage. For takedowns, I feel like you have to be explosive and you have to get after because they're gonna be defending the takedown. You have to keep shooting over and over again until you get them in the ground.
So, Felipe, what makes a great student?
What makes a great student? Somebody that's willing to work no matter the technique that you show in the day, and they're willing to try the technique that they learn in the day and the week, even if they fail over and over again and it's not part of their game.
And then, can you talk about your thoughts about belt promotions in terms of like your criteria for promoting? You know, on each belt level. I don't know, white through purple, let's say.
For the belt promotions, like kids or adults, I'm looking, of course, for their jiu-jitsu skills, but I don't do any test or anything that like I require them, like, hey, you have to come in, show up at this time, and then do these 10 techniques, and you show me you can do it, and then here's your belt. I'm not going to say that's right or wrong, but that's not something that I will do to my students. I look more on a day-to-day basis, how they're doing in the class, how they're approaching the class, if they're working on the technique that we show in the week, if they're really trying when they ask questions and I give them advice, if they're like taking that advice and then they're working on that on the next class. I also look if they show up in time. I also look if they're like how they're behaving after class with the students, how they're acting outside of the mats. You know, like it's for me, it's not just about like how much you learn jujitsu, but like it's how you are, how you progressing as a person too. Because jujitsu is gonna help you not just get better at jujitsu, but it's gonna help you be a better person, right? So like I try to look overall, like for the kids example. I always tell them that when promotion belts coming, hey, you guys gotta pay attention because I'm not just looking at how good you're doing on the mats, but I'm looking how you're treating your friends when the
Mm,
class is over,
mm.
or how you're behaving on the outside of the mats at the gym before the class starts. You know, like how everything that you're doing here when you show up at the academy, I'm looking to overall evaluate and then eventually give you a promotion.
And then for your adults,
It's the same thing, yeah. So I look how they're behaving, how they're like treating the other adults, how they're welcoming the new guy, and then of course how their technique is, how they're like progressing on their technique, on their game, and everything like that.
are you looking for like, you know, are you beating all the other guys in class or that kind of thing? You know, especially from something like a blue to purple or something, right?
I'm not actually looking for anything like that because I know a lot of people that they don't want to be competitors. They're just a hobbyist. And some people are older. You know, you can't expect older guy, even if he's already a purple belt, you can't expect that older guy to beat the blue belt 18-year-old, right? So he might caught the blue belt here and there, but it's like the athleticism, the blue belt probably always gonna win against that purple belt that's like 40 years old. So it's something that you can compare and you can force a guy like, hey, you can't get beat up by the blue belt. Yeah, but like he got over 20 years younger than me,
Yeah,
like he
yeah,
have all
yeah.
that energy and athleticism. I'm not looking for people beat other people to get promoted. I'm looking for them to focus on the learning process, focus on the techniques, focus on the games that they're building and they're planning. And if they're like putting effort to work on that game to achieve that game when they're training instead of them like beating other people.
Do you have any formalities at your academy that you go through, bowing on the mats, lining up, that whole thing?
We do bow before class, and then we line up before class, but that's about it. So some people, it's funny because some people walk by the door and then after class they're like, "Hey, what should I call you? Like a sensei or something?" And I'm like, "No, just call me Felipe. That's fine. I'm not anything special. I'm a black belt, been training for a while, and have my own academy, but I don't want to be put in this pedestal. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just a human like you. Just call me Felipe." I feel like a lot of people out there they like that, that title that like call me master, call me this. Like no.
And that was interesting what you mentioned about like belt testing, because out of the 100 plus academy owners that I've talked to, the vast, vast majorities don't test for
Hmm.
belts. It's exactly like you mentioned. It's sort of an observational thing based on the coach instructor determining, making a decision that now's the
Yeah.
time for whatever criteria. But it's typically not any formal test like they used to in the old days. Sometimes.
Yeah. Used to give you a list, right? You have to do
Yeah,
all of this.
it's like check marks. Yeah, I know. How do you keep your teaching sword sharp, so to speak, current, and how do you develop as a instructor and coach?
So I go to Essential 2, 3 times a week when I can. So I attend class there. Sometimes I do the competition training, but sometimes I go to a regular class in there, which I'm learning from a different instructor, a different professor. And then I'm also working whatever he's teaching, and sometimes take the JT to the side and ask him some questions about things that I'm working and things like that. And I'm always trying to study and improve myself on the times that I'm not teaching. So that's how I feel like I can keep learning, keep exploring new things, and keep trying new things. And then if I learn online from a different instructor, like something that can be useful for my game or to show to my students, I will study that over and over again. And then I'll come to the class and then I'll try them to see their reactions and then to see what can I do out of the reactions before I even try to teach them that.
For context, what Felipe is talking about, Essential is an academy owned by JT Torres and run by JT Torres, a legendary jiu-jitsu practitioner, competitor. So what is that like working with JT, number one? Can you please talk about that? I've heard all kinds of crazy stories about how incredible it is to work with him.
JT is such a nice person, like always smile on his face, always positive, and always giving that positive mindset on whatever you're facing. He's gonna encourage you to stay positive. And it's funny because like I remember this, and I started to doing this with my students. Like he'll come to you and say like, "Hey, how you doing?" And if you say like, "Oh, I'm good," and then he'll ask you again like, "Hey, how you doing?" Until you turn to him and say like, "I'm doing great." Like it's that mentality that like no matter the outcome, no matter the what I'm facing in my life, I'm doing great. So if I
Mm.
tell myself I'm doing great, I'm more likely to have a great day ahead of me than I'm like, yeah, I'm good, like yeah. So always that like positive attitude and mentality, and something that I started doing with my students. Sometimes I feel like they're coming to the class and they're like, you see, they're already head down a little bit, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And they're like, oh, I'm good. And I was like, no, no, hey, how you doing? And like I'm doing great. But JT is a great coach, great person. I feel lucky to be able to train under him, to train with him and learn from him. And it's a tough, tough training for sure. That pressure is out of this world, man. It's unbelievable. It's something that is different. I train with heavy guys, but like nothing like that pressure.
Well, yeah, that's what I've heard. That and what other super high level guys have told me is that his grips are ridiculous too.
But yeah,
They
yeah.
it's like he's
Yep.
famous for his grips. It's like a compressor or something. It's impossible.
Yeah, it can break those grips, man. You might rip your gi before you break those grips.
So In your opinion, what makes a great instructor?
Someone that's always searching for a more knowledge themselves and then willing to learn instead be the person who I got the black belt, I know everything, I don't need to learn anymore. And also be open to learn from anyone, like I think like if you're a black belt and you have that nerd purple belt at the gym that watch more jiu-jitsu than you do, he can come up with something that he saw and then he practiced and he adjusted and then he can also show you that and then you can learn from him, always like be open to learn and be open to always keep acquiring knowledge to yourself and not don't just be stuck like, oh, I know everything. Don't be that person. I know everything. I'm a black belt. Just a person like anybody else, and then I can learn from anyone and I can always get better on the things that I'm doing and get better in my jiu-jitsu.
How has your personal perspective of jujitsu changed over the years?
I think over the years I got more in the idea of like keep learning and not titles, but like chasing like targets and like, oh, I want to beat this person. Oh, I want to get this title. Of course, we all have those goals. We all have like, I want to achieve this title. I want to achieve this. I want to achieve that. But I think over the years I got more into I want to get better and better in my jiu-jitsu. So when I'm competing, when I'm teaching, I'm performing my best instead of like just setting like a goals like I want this medal, right? Or I want to be able to beat this person. No, I want my jiu-jitsu to look better, to be better, to be able to do all these techniques and perform better as a coach, perform better as an athlete. And then if you do that, I think all those results and everything that you're chasing before, they're gonna come at some point, they're gonna come together at some point.
Another thing where I see that sort of mindset has sort of affected your entire life is your business. It's surprising in this 9 months how much business, like organization and offerings that you have, and it looks really professional in terms of your schedule that we were discussing, the self defense programs, kids programs, the scholarship thing we were talking about. You have online offerings galore, and just all this really smart stuff. Even your website and your onboarding process, and just the business aspect of it. And the place looks really professional and really clean and really
Thank you.
straight and stuff too. That's a lot of stuff to think about that goes beyond jujitsu, that the business sense, the marketing sense, all these hats that you have to wear. Can you talk about all of that, working on the additional ancillary stuff, the business of jujitsu?
A little before these 9 months, right? So I had a mat space which is was a little smaller than what I have right now. It was inside a CrossFit gym, right? So it was a friend of mine who gave me the opportunity to start my own thing. And then we have this partnership in there where I had the mat space. It wasn't what I visioned, what I wanted, but was what I had to work on to eventually build what I have now. But I feel like over there, I had a lot of ideas, a lot of things that I wanted to do. And sometimes, not that I couldn't do it, sometimes it was harder to do because I didn't have control of the business. So everything was running through the CrossFit business. So I couldn't do a lot of things that I wanted to do, right? So it's like it wasn't fully my business, right? But that was a great opportunity, was a great start to have what I have now. And then when I opened this 9 months ago, and I was like, okay, now this is mine. I own 100% this. I have no partners. I opened this my own. And I was like, okay, now is the time for me to do everything I wanted to do, the way I wanted to do. And I feel like a lot of people that coach jujitsu, they just like to coach jujitsu and study jujitsu. But I'm a kind of person that I love the outside part too. I love filming videos, editing videos. Sometimes people ask me like, "Hey, why don't you hire someone to edit your video?" And I'm like, because I like to do it because when I film a video for the gym, for myself, for anything that I'm doing it, I'm already visualizing the way that I want that video to come out of the editing. So
Mhm.
if I hire someone that doesn't have the same vision that I do, I don't think I'm gonna like the
Mhm.
result of that video. Um, that's why I like to edit. I like to pick the parts. I love this stuff, like creating a new flyer for an event, organizing an event, do all this outside part of teaching at the gym. So recently we just organized here a movie night for the kids, like a Halloween movie night. I organized everything, I decorated everything. I had all the like over 25 kids on the mats. I love to do it, and I'm always thinking of new ideas and new things to do. So it's like almost my brain doesn't stop working. I'm always like, okay, where's the next thing? So I'm always thinking on something more to do and then to work with for the gym, for myself, and for everything like that.
That's interesting. I remember studying this program called the 12-week year, and essentially, you're always living 3 months ahead. So you're always in this ahead of the game. It's yeah, fascinating.
I always like to set like, okay, this week, like I have like a daily goals, like a weekly goals, like a
Mm.
monthly goals. And I also like to see, like my wife always say, and I'm always say that to myself too, I'm a dreamer, right? But I think if I wasn't a dreamer, I don't think this will happen because this was a dream since I was an 18 years old. But I'm already have on the back of my head how I want to see this place in 5 years from now. I'm already like, okay, I want this here, this there, this much more space. I have all those visions and those dreams on the back of my mind where I can visualize and see where I want this to go.
Well, let's take a little turn, a mental turn from that, and let's talk about maybe some of the more darker things, right? Times when you sort of doubted yourself and maybe ever considered quitting, whether it was in jujitsu or business or whatever it may be. Did you ever run across those times?
A few times, yeah, you always get to the point that you hit the wall. And as an athlete, I felt a lot of times that my jiu-jitsu was not good. I didn't have enough skills to win the tournaments, to win at the high level, to perform well out there. I have points like that on my personal life too, where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. There's no way out of this, and nothing's working. But I feel like those moments, that's like one thing that I re learned with JT. It's like that he always say like PMA was positive mental attitude. No matter what you're facing, try to be positive about it. Try to keep showing up, taking a step forward, climb one more step on the stairs, and then eventually you're gonna see the light on the end of the tunnel. And there's that funny meme that you see sometimes on the internet. That's a guy that's like reading the rock, and then he just quit. And the other guy didn't quit, and then he found a bunch of diamonds, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So like sometimes the light on the tunnel is closer than you think, but if you stop, you're never gonna see it. And then if you keep going, it might be even better than you ever imagined. And I feel like sometimes those challenge and those dark and hard times comes to your life to teach you something, test you to like, okay, let's see how much you want this. Let's see how hard are you willing to go to achieve this. Let's see how much you're willing to work to make this happen. Let's see if you can go through this. Let's see when you have nothing, you can still chase that goal and that dream. Let's see how willing you're going to go further to achieve those things. Yeah, I think that's the mentality. You just gotta be positive and keep going one step at a time.
I love that you mentioned the PMA. For all you old punk rock fans out there, there was a band called the Bad Brains in early, I think, 90s or something like that, and they always would sing about PMA, positive mental attitude. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's
Boston,
fantastic.
yeah.
Felipe, can you talk about, and I'm sure you have a ton of these, can you give me like an aha moment?
The first time I did comp class at Essential, that was like a wake up call. And then I was like, damn, I thought my conditioning was good. I thought my technique was good. And I was like, I have a lot to work on. And I was like, damn, I gotta. And it was that time that I realized that this is where I need to come train for myself. And I can give a few more of those moments too.
Please, please do.
Like the first time that I have a female competitor here, she's 14. So the first time that she won gold on IBJJF after losing first round for 2 years straight.
Wow.
And then she kept going, never gave up, and then she
Wow.
won first IBJJF gold. And I was
Oh,
like,
congratulations. That's wonderful.
that was a great feeling. And another one when I won my first IBJJF gold as a black belt
Wow.
after 7 years
Jeez.
of winning. I took me 7 years to win the first gold and IBJJF black belt. And I was like, that was like, damn, I broke the wall and now I just gotta keep going, you know. That's one of those moments that you see the light and now, okay, I see it. Now I just gotta keep going.
You know, it's I'm thinking about a guest I had a couple episodes ago, an incredible competitor named Clay Mayfield. And he said that he used to be at an academy where he was training, and then he would cross train in other places, and he went to Pedigo, the Daisy Fresh. And he's like, that's when he realized, damn, I thought my conditioning was
Mm-hmm.
good. I thought my comp, level class was a good level. And then you realize that there's this, I need to get here. And as
Yes.
you said, you went to I got to train at Essential. He did the same thing. He went, I got to go over
Yes.
here and work with,
Yes.
these guys.
For sure.
Also to shoot for a goal, especially IBJJF goal, like that for years and years of hearing about you guys, like just trying to, maybe getting silver or getting bronze, getting silver, getting bronze, and so close, so close. And then when you hit it, it's just like, it's amazing. And some guys never do.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that compete out there that, yeah, a lot. One thing that my dad tells me all the time is just like, like you got a silver, it's not bad. You got a bronze, it's not bad. Like imagine you had like 50 people in that bracket sometimes, and then only one person gonna take gold. Only one person gonna take silver, and two guys gonna take bronze, but everybody else gonna go home with nothing.
Yeah. Can you give me a non-jujitsu fondest childhood memory?
I think when my dad used to bring the whole family, like aunts and uncles, to the house for Christmas, and then him and my mom will buy gifts and presents for every single kid of their whole family.
Wow,
And then
that's awesome.
they'll do all this decoration and call everybody and then give their own gift and everything.
Amazing. Let's talk about the academy a bit more. Now, you have this great program. When you're thinking about like this blue belt that you're developing to teach, are you thinking about like, how am I going to teach my teachers? Because eventually you're going to need more help, right? What's your plan for developing instructors?
So my plan is so I always say that I prefer to build my instructors than get someone from outside that I haven't met, I haven't
Hmm.
had a contact with that person, and then
Right.
put that person to start teaching, right? So I feel like if it's a black belt who's already been a black belt and they have interest in teaching in the academy, I feel like first they need to become a student. They need to come, they need to train, they need to see the environment, they need to start relating with everybody, and then eventually they can have an opportunity to teach. Because what was exactly what happened to me when I started teaching at Formigas Academy back in the day. So I was a student at the academy first. I was training there for quite a few months, and then he gave me the opportunity to teach. But like as right now, my plan is to like keep building the highest belts that I have, and eventually they're gonna get to brown or black or some of the brown and blacks I already have in here. Eventually offer them an opportunity to teach some of the classes. I know some of the guys have interested on doing it, so it's just wait now when the opportunity comes up and then talk to them and then give them those classes.
And now I'm curious about your demeanor. Has it always been like this calm and everything too? Because it seems like you have the perfect demeanor to run an academy and to be an instructor.
I'm a very calm person. Like my wife says that too. It's like it's really hard to see me like off the edge, like
Flying off the handle,
it
Felipe?
is it's you're barely gonna see it, like it's very few things that will, take that. But I'm very calm person, very chill. I like this jiu-jitsu lifestyle, and running the academy, it's for me is a dream that I've been working for so long to achieve. And everything that I do here now, I do with passion and I do with love, even when I'm like wiping the toilet or,
Yeah.
I'm teaching the class.
Yeah.
Everything I'm doing with love because like this is my place. This is my academy.
So let's talk about more jujitsu and your offerings too. I know you have De La Riva Sweep the World and a whole bunch of other stuff. So let's talk about that and De La Riva in general.
De La Riva is being part of my game since I was a purple belt. That's a game that I learned with my first professor. His name is Thiago Oliveira. That was a guy that I trained from white to black belt, and I started developing that game. I was a purple belt, and it's funny because I have a sweep that I teach on the De La Riva Sweep the World. Now I call Money Sweep, which it was a name that JT gave to the sweep. After training with JT for a few years, the way he was talking that anyone that I was training with, if they never trained with me before, they had no idea what my game was, I will hit them with that sweep 100%. And then he started calling the money sweep because that was the sweep that worked every single time. And there's a sweep that I started doing in a purple belt, and I've been doing that sweep in tournaments from purple since these days in a black belt. It's one of the things that I teach on the De La Riva Sweep the World instructional. And the goal with the instructional was to teach everyone how to play De La Riva. If you've never done it before, if you don't even know what De La Riva is, the goal of the instructional was to like build you from zero to spinning armbar from De La Riva, like be able to build your game for the De La Riva game from scratch, from nothing to like be able to do all the advanced transitions and movements and submissions that you can combine into it.
So then what are the common mistakes that you see your students making with De La Riva or things that can be improved with that De La Riva game?
The most common mistake I see a lot of people, not just my student, but overall people make with the De La Riva is not using the De La Riva hook. A lot of people pay a lot of attention with the outside leg that pushes and pull on the hip, on the sleeve or the collar and the pants, but their De La Riva hook is always loose, which that hook is the hook that makes the position happen, right? So that's the hook a lot of people don't focus to use to either push or pull or off balance your partner left and right. So when you start putting more focus on that hook, you're gonna be more successful with your sweeps 100%.
One of the things I noticed about that hook, and when we're talking about that hook, we're talking about the leg, the De La Riva leg that's on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
the actual foot getting somewhere between that between the legs, right? Whether you're making
Yeah,
contact with the near leg, far leg, or the crotch itself, or
yeah,
some in that area. It seems like something to optimize that hook is taking an angle. When you're doing it straight on, sometimes you're kind of putting a little weird stress on that knee potentially. Have you
yes.
noticed that too? Do you advise people to, pivot?
Yes, if you start moving your butt more towards their foot or almost like on top, you're sitting on top of your partner's foot, the
Mm,
more you move to that direction,
mm.
the easier it's gonna be for you to keep your hook connected.
And then also, we kind of touched on it, but you actually offer your 12-week intro beginner course online as well, correct? Can you talk about that?
Yes, so we just released that. So I have that on my profile, the link, everybody can go and check it out. So we offer everything that we do here on the 12-week beginner program. So I offer that for online so you can watch it and you can learn everything. And then for instructors too, for professors too, that if they want to supplement to their academy, if they don't have a beginner class and they don't know how do I start a beginner class, I wanted
Mhm.
to start. They can buy the course and they can use that as a start point so they can start teaching at their own academy as well.
Additionally, Red Zone Plus. It looks very professional. Everything that you do, the camera work and everything just looks really good. The quality of it and the
Hmm.
instructions. So kudos to you and your editing skills as well. Let's talk about Red Zone Plus and what it is and what can people get from that.
Red Zone Plus is on Patreon. You can subscribe and it's a fee for subscriber monthly. And then you can have like an inside look of everything that we teach on the Red Zone from like kids class to fundamentals class. Some of the beginner moves are there as well. And then there's something that I try to upload a new move every week or every 2 weeks. and you're always going to be getting new content in there and then see everything that we do here. And you can see like a couple like vlogs as well as like we have a videos in there from moving when we left the CrossFit gym and things like that. You can be a little more a part of the inside of Red Zone Jiu-Jitsu.
And then you wrote a book. It's called My First Jiu-Jitsu Adventure, a fun guide to learning, growing, and rolling. And this is available on Amazon. Can you talk about that?
Yeah,
Yeah. Illustrated book. Looks really cool.
that was a project of mine for years, and I've been working on that for many years, but I stopped for a while because I was competing a lot. And after I competed at Master Worlds this year, I took like 2 months off and I had a little spare time every week. And I decided to put the time in and to finish that book and then publish, you know. And that's when I did, and that's when I published. And if you want to check it out, you can check on the link on my social medias too. So that's on Amazon, and it's for kids, all ages, parents too, adults too. You know, it's a fun way to learn jiu-jitsu and see the techniques in there.
Earlier we were talking about fundamentals in your 12-week program, and you said there were like 12 things essentially were fundamental to you. Can you define like what are your fundamentals?
For those 12 weeks, I focus on like give them an ability to take their partner down, to like give them an option to either take down or pull guard. Now I give them option of one or two sweeps so they can get on top of their partner. Now I give them option to pass the guard and get to side control. I give them an option to how do I move from side control to the top mount position now? How do I finish from mount? Now, what if I'm on the bottom? How do I escape from mount? How do I escape from side control? Now, how do I attack submissions? How do I escape from submissions? How do I defend if someone's on my back? How do I attack someone's back? Things like that that can give you like an overall look of everything that can happen in a sparring round. And then you're gonna have at least one thing that you can do no matter the position that you end up.
We're roughly at promotion time, I think, for a lot of academies. And
Mhm.
can you give advice to people that have been promoted? Typically, we're probably getting a lot of blue belts right now, things like that. Can you give advice?
Please don't quit. You know, like for the blue belts out there, just keep showing up, keep putting the same work that you did to get your blue belt. Because I feel like a lot of people quit at their blue belt for the reason that they put so much work, they got beat up so much through their wipeout journey, and now they're a blue belt and they feel like, okay, I did it. I don't want, I'm tired of this. No, just forget about the belts, you know, focus on the learning process. Forget about you getting a blue belt. If you're at the academy just looking for the belt, you more likely gonna quit when you get your blue belt, right? Because you're just looking for a belt. You're not looking for a knowledge, you're not looking for get better in your jiu-jitsu. But if you're there looking to learn more, get better in jiu-jitsu and doing all of that, so that belt's just gonna be a different belt that you're tying every day, but you're always gonna seek the same thing. You're always gonna keep putting the same amount of work. So it's funny because I have a student he's really good. He's a white belt, 4 stripes, very good game, very good jiu-jitsu, and I always push him to compete. And then he came to me the other day, and then he say like, give me a reason or something that why I should compete. And then he told me like, if I compete or not compete, I'm gonna keep showing up and work as hard as I can every single day. So why the competition is gonna change anything for me,
Mhm.
right? So that's kind of the mentality that you should have when you're training. Like you wanna show up, do the best you can, and always looking for learning something new no matter if you're a white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, or even black belt. Because if you focus on the belts on the promotion, when a promotion's coming, you're there just to want a new color belt.
I want to come back to the sense of community I noticed that you've built and what a priority it is. And I can see now when we mention your memory of your family Christmas and how, there was like a sense
Yeah.
of togetherness and community and how wonderful and great it made everyone feel. And you can just feel the vibe as you're describing it. And what you're creating at Red Zone as well seems like a really cool thing. Can you talk about the culture of Red Zone as well in the community?
I was talking to this with another student the other day. So like I want that he was saying that like how good the environment here is, how like welcoming it is. And I was like, I always wanted to build a place where people gonna come in and have a good time and then enjoy while they're here and have fun and not like it's like you don't want to build a place where people gonna go in and train and they get more stress, right? People get stress, a lot of stress out of their day-to-day work, whatever life outside of the door. You want to build a place where as soon as they walk out the door, they're gonna feel like, oh my God, I'm here. Thank God. This is, like I'm getting that relief out of my day, taking all the weight off my shoulders. I'm doing my hour and a half of jiu-jitsu, and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna feel good. So I want to build that community where everybody come together, like we did the movie night for kids here. Now I have all the parents calling me and then email me like, hey, if you're gonna do another one, we can help with this, we can help with that. So you want to build that community where everybody come together for like having fun, doing events, and you like the environment that people feel happy and they wanted to come here. That
Hmm.
they're gonna get excited on their day, like, oh my God, I can't wait to get to this time because I gotta go to Red Zone.
Can you talk about any sort of future plans, future goals?
So I have the goal to be a Master World Champion, which you can write it down. I'm gonna achieve that goal. So that's gonna be something that I'm really gonna work really hard for the next year. And I have a goal to build this academy and over 200 students in here. And then I have a goal to open a second location of Red Zone one day and then move from there. Yeah, there's some big goals, and hopefully next year I'm gonna do more tournaments that I did this year and just keep working hard and keep pursuing those goals.
So, Felipe, where can we get more information about you and everything that you're up to, man?
You can follow my Instagram. It's F___ Simplicio. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube. Just type my name, Felipe Simplicio, and then you definitely find me there. And if you go to my Instagram and the links on my bio, you can find my instruction notes, my book. You can find information about the gym. If you're visiting Connecticut, you can come in for a free class as well. And yeah, just check my social medias. You can find all information in there.
All right, everyone. I'm your host, Adolfo Ferranda. Don't forget, buymeacoffee.com/forever white belt. You buy me a cup of coffee, man. And then we have a new merch site, FWB for Forever White Belt, fwb.printful.com. That's print, PRINTFUL.com. And don't forget to check us out at North Bay Jiu-Jitsu here in California, in the North Bay, north of San Francisco. Drink your salt electrolytes and get your dojo hockeys. How about that, people? Okay, well, thank you so much for your time again. Felipe, thank you so much for making the time and having this conversation.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
I'll see you guys. Take care.